to sort everything out, make sure everything is good to go. But I think we're good to go now. Just had to double check and make sure of everything. It's always those tiny loose ends, that you have to fix up and things. But I'm glad we're all here together now. There we go. Let me close it. No. Let me close it up. There we go. I think we're good to go. Awesome. Once again, thank you so much for being here. Aha, live. Awesome. Screws, thank you so much for telling us that we had the title wrong and stuff like that. There goes my plan to make lunch. Go ahead, make lunch. Make sure we're on mobile so that you don't miss anything. But I have been addressing the Twitch chat mostly. But what I'm going to say is that today we'll be focusing on more advanced tactics. And I really enjoy looking at these tactics, and even more so finding the resources to show you guys. So we have 2 games today from the early 1900s, very short games too. That's what I really like about tactical blows. They'll come much early in the game sometimes in the end game, but mostly out of nowhere, complete surprise. And it can even happen in the opening. So these games are no longer than 20 moves, probably something like 13 to 15 moves, which I really, really like 2 of those games. And then the rest of the lecture, we will be going over tactics. We'll be doing a lot of tactics together. I've handpicked a number of them to make sure we don't run out of tactics, but I also know that we're going to have a huge blast together. So this will be a lot of fun. All right, so the first game that we will be taking a look at is Reuben Fine versus Arthur William Dake. And let me get the date up as well. Hey, what's up, Mish? How you doing, Calvin? Let's just see, how's this working? There we go. This game was played in 1931. You can see it tracks back into the archives. What do you think about this game? Archie? I can't open that game, unfortunately. Not on stream, at least. I have way too many browsers open right now. But it would be great to see. I'll check out the VOD later. I remember this game. Was lucky enough to see it live. Oh my goodness. I'm sure some other people in chat were able to see it live. Okay. I'm good. How are you, Calvin? Good to see you. Alright, so let's begin with this game. We're going to see it from Arthur's point of view. Reuben Fine is a very famous player, legendary player from the past, blast from the past, and we're going to go through it. This game, I will tell you how many moves there were. 17 moves. So I lied about the 15 moves. 1931 was a great year for chess. Yeah, we all remember how important 1931 is for all the humans of chess. Alright, so let's begin. We have d4, knight f6, c4. And this is kind of categorized as something white would play when wanting to play the Queen's Gambit. Now that probably stands out to you because of the popular Netflix series Queen's Gambit. And how to actually make sure it is a Queen's Gambit, we'd have to play a move like e6, and after maybe something like knight f3, d5. Oh, that's d6. Mouse slip. d5, knight c3. And the gambit is a word used for a position like this where white is intending to give up a pawn for free or seemingly for free for compensation, such as central control. So if black decides to capture that pawn and is like, well, it's a free pawn, of course I'm going to take it, white can simply play a move like e4, and suddenly there is an overwhelming control in the center by white. White has 2 pawns sitting in the center, and the best way to control the center is obviously to occupy it, because not only do these pawns control the squares they're attacking, but also the squares that they're on. Now you need to make sure that when your pieces are on a square that your opponent is attacking, you got to make sure that that square is protected or overprotected. You can never have too much protection on a square here, especially when it comes to some central tension. So here the whole point of c4 is to distract black's d5 pawn, so that if black captures, white will play a move like e4 or e3, depends. And along with this beautiful central control, we also have the bishop attacking the pawn. So somehow black will have to find a defense of the pawn if they want to keep it, but unfortunately in this position there is simply no defense for this pawn on c4. So let's go back. That is the Queen's Gambit. So what you've seen, you're learning something new every single day. Does it annoy you that the show said d4 is the Queen's Gambit? Did the show say that? I mean, I suppose if you're trying to put it in simple terms for people who don't play chess, the chess world is a very, it's a small community. If you had to compare it to the world. I mean, there are about 10 million chess players, I'm sure, actively playing under FIDE. But to be honest with you, not everyone knows how to play chess. Then to start with just the move d4 seems simple enough. Move this pawn here. Instead of going on a rant like I just did to explain what the Queen's Gambit really is, people would lose interest very fast. Do you accept or decline the Gambit yourself? I decline. It also depends. So if you're playing... why can't I move? Okay. If you're playing... Oh, there we go. That was the problem. I was like, why is it not allowing me to move the pieces? Okay. If you're wanting to capture the pawn, I would simply suggest the Slav. Or, yeah, the Slav. So the Slav is kind of like a pawn chain triangle pawn chain formation. And the reason for c6, is that, if bishop g5, we can take the pawn. And now it's okay, because after e4, we have b5. Previously, the pawn was sitting on c7, and we didn't have b5 because the knight could capture b5. But now that we have c6, b5 protects this kind of, I don't know what you want to call it, some pawn formation. And why do we want to protect this pawn? Because we just captured it. And if we're going to capture something, sacrificing our center, we want to make sure that we keep that pawn. And the bishop is attacking c4 right now. Well, obviously it's not going to take. That was a mistake there. But white is threatening this move. Now, just looking at the position, it looks as though black cannot move the knight. The pawn is attacking the knight, but the knight can't move because the bishop would capture the queen. We don't want that. But there's a simple way of dealing with the situation. See, when there's a bishop pinning the knight and a pawn on the other side attacking the knight, which just looks like it's game over, we attack the bishop. The best defense is active defense. So here if the bishop retreats, still keeping the pressure, once again it looks as though you're going to lose the knight, we push the pawn again. We have g5. So what's really nice is we're getting rid of the piece that's pinning the knight. If the bishop retreats once more, we can now move the knight and we're no longer pinned. Really, really nice. Exactly. Bishop b4 is the Nimzo. Yeah, the Nimzo is actually what was played in this game. Very true. Hello, dude. What about e5 now? Exactly, e5 was played. Isn't e takes f6, h takes g5, f takes g7 better for white? Looks, this is theory actually what I'm playing, but probably not this, up till this point theory. I played this in a game in 2000 and... I'm gonna get this wrong. 2009. I played this exact preparation. My coach prepared me for a game in a selectional tournament where I could play in the South African Championship if I won a certain number of games. And I played against one of the top players, and they prepared this line against me and said, play this, play exactly this. And she played every move against my preparation. So at the end of the preparation, it had led to checkmate. So he's like, if she plays here, then it's checkmate over here, but she'll probably see it. So just continue with this idea. And she ended up playing into that kind of trap-ish and got checkmated. So that whole game was just preparation. I didn't have to think for myself once. It was just me trying to remember a bunch of moves. But it was absolutely mind-boggling because I left. I think the game had lasted like 35 minutes because I didn't have to think. She was thinking. And I walked out and my coach just kind of picked me up and was like, "You're amazing." I was 12. I was short. I was like a little baby. But like, wow. That was really, really cool. Paid actors. Savvy. Very complex opening. Looks like the Bodvinnik variation. I think they had said this was the... Ah, no, Fischer variation is the actual game, but I don't know this line. Maybe Bodvinnik. Quite nice. Looks like white wins a pawn. But remember, black is a pawn up already. Black is a pawn up, so probably they would end up trading to some equal position then. Is this bad for the king's safety? Most of the time in positions like this, you'll keep the king in the center. Because also, it's a very static pawn structure right now where white is not able to play d5. The king is only really in danger if there are open files in the center. And right now, there's just no chance of there being open files unless, of course, white decides to sacrifice. But black will just take with the knight or the pawn on c. Knight g5 is a good move. Exactly. This is the theory. This is the theory. So knight takes g5, pawn takes g5, bishop takes g5, and putting pressure on this diagonal once again. And I think like the best move is something crazy. I can't remember, maybe knight d7 or something. Knight d7, bishop and pawn takes. And then you leave it, right? You play like queen c7, and then bishop e2. I don't know what happened. I think it was something like along the lines of this, bishop b7, and then she ended up castling, and like this is move 13, and then you just go like checkmate, and this is exactly what she kind of fell for, which was amazing. I was very lucky that day, because to be honest, my strength was probably 1200, 1300, I don't know, but this is like high level theory that I didn't even understand. Amazing prep to crush her. Yeah, my coaches had this knack for preparing, because a lot of the time as a young player, you're going to stick to exactly the same line every time. And if you don't analyze your games, you will happen to make the same mistake over and over. And that's the thing. Even when, like during a tournament, and maybe you want to leave all your games till after the tournament to analyze, the best thing is, even if it's like the worst loss in the world, that's the time you need to go and sit down with the game, deal with the loss, go cry later, but like deal with that loss then and go analyze the game. You know, it's so important. Do you drop the king dramatically after? Sure. I'm pretty sure she stood up and just walked away, but I was in awe, so obviously I was like blacked out. I was like, what just happened? And the worst is when you have a really great win like that and you're trying to suppress a smile, because you know smiling is just bad sportsman. Not smiling in jet, like smiling while your opponent can see you and you've won the game. You want to smile because it's like such a great win, but then you're trying to suppress your smile because you don't want to be rude. So you're like, good game. And then, like, while you're packing your bag, maybe you're, like, smiling a little. But then when you head outside, you just dead face because you want to be poker face when people are like, what happened? It was 35 minutes when the game is supposed to last 3 hours. Yeah. Okay, let's go back. We have been sidetracked more than enough. So we have knight c3, bishop b4, and yeah, we have the Nimzo Indian defense. Of course, Kelvin, at some point I will be happy to show my games. That game in particular must have gotten lost in the void. A lot of my earlier games, I only remember... I mean, it's only due to memory. Like, I don't have them in the archives. I think the earliest game I have is 2014. But some great memories before then as well. I read a book by Watskin. Josh Watskin? What's his name? Watskin. The movie Searching for Bobby Fischer is about him, Josh. And the thing is, I was like, for like a brief period of time, I was obsessed with Watskin's work. There was a whole program, like computer program, dedicated to his lectures and the notes he's made and the stories he's told. And he's done a lot of like voiceover stuff. And he's such like he's a great storyteller. And this program is called Chessmaster Grandmaster Edition. And he does all these, and I think I like went through the program a couple times, and that's how I kind of jumped maybe from 1300 strength to like 1700 strength. And just repeating it or listening to his lectures before bedtime or something, it was amazing. It also inspired me because he would speak about the psychology of preparation and the psychology of the pressure you're kind of under when maybe you're the top seed in a tournament and there's all this pressure on you to win. I think that's one of the main reasons he didn't go pro chess, because he was an IM, very close to hitting GM, and decided to just quit. Maybe the pressure. I think it was the pressure that got to him, and he decided to take up martial arts. And I also saw a couple of his videos kind of just speaking about his work. But I like it, Josh. So you don't dab? Oh, no. Hi, guys. Good to see you. You mistakenly ended the last stream. Yes, so I think it was the wrong stream title that I was streaming under, so I had to stop the broadcast and start it again. So I had to fix that. Watskin, spelled Waitzkin. I think that was spelled correctly by Screws. Martial arts, he'd be perfect for Ultimate Sensei. Wow, okay. So bishop b4, e3. Okay, b6. And this is just one of many ways of dealing with the Nimzo Indian. Bishop d3, bishop b7, knight e2. And here I love this, okay. So he plays knight e2, but probably sacrificing the pawn on g2 to get an open file for the rook. I like it. Rook g1, bishop back. But now this is very interesting, right? We have bishop takes, knight takes, and now this move. Rook takes g7. Frowns. The whole point of giving up the pawn on g2 over here was to allow the rook the open file. And once the rook reaches g7, I mean, rook on the 7th rank is just a field day. I mean, you've got pressure, it's where all the pawns are kind of sitting mostly, and you're happy. It looks like white is doing very well. But black finds something. Black finds something here, and I want you guys to take a look and see if you can find it as well. So he took his time. Timmy G! Dropping some knowledge again this morning. Yes, how you doing, Timmy? A rook on the 7th rank is very, very dank. Oh, wow. I had Josh Waitzkin on Comp CD, excellent. Computer CD, that's amazing. How do you register for the tournament? World Online School Chess Tournament? I'm sure if you Google it, it should be good. The only thing I know is about the training for the tournament. Unfortunately, nothing about the participation there. Queen f6. Queen f6 is nice. The only point is Queen f6 is followed... Okay, you're attacking the rook, you're attacking f2, but the rook just drops back to g2 and you're protecting both. So something a little bit more dank. Something a bit more dank. Queen h4 is also nice to me. But once again, that's just rook g2. Something more forceful. So we've dealt with forceful moves before, and I'm going to repeat what I said previous times too. I think it's just so important to remember, is that when it comes to tactics, there are 3 things you need to keep in mind. And in order of importance, these are the 3 things that will help you on your way to finding candidate moves. Now, candidate moves are another way of saying, like a fancy way of saying options in a chess game, where instead of just looking at all the possibilities, which will drive you absolutely nuts, just come up with 3 really good moves. And how do you find these 3 good moves? If not more or less, but you want to keep it around 3 so as to not waste too much time, because obviously if you're playing a game, you don't have too much time on the clock, and it's good to train that thought process of like finding candidate moves, is you have to find forceful moves. So like I said, in order of importance, you're going to look for checks first. If there are no checks that really work for you, you will look for captures. And if there are no captures that work, you'll look for threats, attacking moves, these kind of things. So like I said, in order of importance, we'll start with the checks. If there are no checks that work, here we have bishop takes c3, but maybe it's not the right side of the board that we need to focus on. Although, since it is a check, we can add it as a candidate move. Remember, candidate moves aren't to say that you are going to make those moves. It's just to narrow them down so that you're not getting lost in a position where you're looking at 10 moves and last second you play a move you didn't even consider in the first place. So bishop takes c3 can be the first candidate move. Second candidate move, we can look at captures. Okay, bishop takes c3 is already a capture, knight takes c3 is another capture. But there's something else. Knight f2. I like knight f2. Knight f2 is perfect. So knight f2, but then what happens if king takes f2? What do we have? And that's exactly what we were talking about as well. You want to play queen f6, but of course this is a little bit too slow. And now if you play queen f6 after knight takes f2, king takes f2, then you have a check and you're forking the rook and the king. So you're winning that. What is a candidate move? Hi. As I said, a candidate move is another way of saying an option in a chess game. So given a critical position, or any position for that matter, you need to sit down and think about what move you're going to make. So before making that move, you'll come up with 3 different options. Decent options, maybe if you can't just find 3, if there's more than that, that's also fine. But you want to consider the best moves on the board. And instead of looking at 10, you got to narrow it down. Maybe process of elimination or something. Come up with 3 using those forceful moves or other concepts you know. So other concepts include what is the least active piece in the position? Is there a piece you haven't moved yet? So a lot of the time, maybe you want to move the piece you've moved already because it's already so active, you want to just start jumping in and attacking. But unfortunately, you have to utilize all your pieces before you can actually start attacking. Okay, so least active piece is important, king safety is important, and also attacking moves first. So instead of waiting moves, we always have to look for the attacking moves, and that leads to the tactics and the forceful moves. So all of it is kind of connected in a way. YouTube chat is usually smarter, but she likes Twitch chat more. What? Oh, wow. Okay. There's another chat, yes. Queen of 6. Thanks, Calvin. Okay. So, knight takes f2. Knight takes f2 is the move that was played. And of course, white saw this idea. If king takes f2, there's queen f6 check, winning the rook. So queen c2. The queen was under attack and just decided to move it anyway. So now we're going to play queen h4, which was Tommy G's suggestion earlier. And queen h4 is just going to allow for a discovered attack. So if the knight moves next, it'll be check. King goes to f1. But unfortunately, this is one of the worst moves. And yeah, what is black going to do here? What is black going to do? Black is going to continue the threat. Knight g4. Threatening queen f2, checkmate, knight to g3, and queen f6. picking up the rook. Excuse me, picking up the rook, taking the rook, and it's just over from here. There we go, consolidating, and then we have a win for black. Black is just a rook up. So that is the beauty of forceful moves and the beauty of double attacks. Forks. You like it, that's great, I'm so happy. Pinning the black knight. I was gonna say pinning, but it's not pinning. Can't pin your own piece. Okay, the next game was between, I'm going to botch this name so badly. Okay, the next game was between Pyotr Ismailov and Mikhail Botvinnik. Botvinnik played black pieces, although the point did go to white in this game. Oopsie. Oh no. Why me? Okay. So let's begin. Ismailov played white and Botvinnik played black pieces with d4, knight f6, knight f3, e6, c4, d5, and here we have the Queen's Gambit, guys. The Queen's Gambit, probably one of those classical lines, c6, and we have a Slav. This is exactly what we spoke about, but here there was an extra move played. Queen a5, going towards something called the Cambridge Springs, I believe. Cambridge Springs. This game was played in 1931. I'm gonna lie. 1931 is the previous game. This was 1929, a couple years before that. Screws remembers all too well. Hi, 17. Cambridge, yes, nice. Okay, bishop b4, knight d2, and castles. I need to remember where to slow down here. Okay, so next move we just have normal developing moves, guys. We have b6, castles, captures. He decides to break the tension over there, captures, bishop a6, putting pressure on the c4 pawn, and just bishop back. So when you see, this is a perfect example of least active piece. So maybe the rooks are the least active in this position, but repositioning pieces that have no use in their current on their current square anymore, we have to reconsider. So here the whole point of bishop g5 in the beginning was to pin the knight on f6 to the queen that's on d8. That queen is nowhere near d8 anymore. So that's why he decided to increase the range of the bishop. There's only 3 squares this bishop can go to right now, but if the bishop goes to f4, we've increased its range. And remember, the piece is only as powerful or only worth as much as it is in a given position where it is kind of, oh my goodness, I'm at a loss of words, but I hope you understand what I'm trying to say, is that the more active the piece is, the more valuable it is. There we go. I just had to slow down for a second. So now the piece has a lot more range. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 squares compared to the 3 it had earlier, and all it had to do is come back 1 square. So range is so important. That bishop has some range now. Not as much range as the testimonial said. My goodness me, screws. Okay, so the bishop on f4 has a lot more range. So important to realize. Okay, so rook c8. Now guys, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Ismailov finds something beautiful, and I'm going to leave it up to you. Hello, dude. He's on the right track. Oh my goodness. Who are you? Well, how did you get that so quickly? I'm going to wait for YouTube chat to see it. Is that really a good place for the bishop? Well, in this case, yes. Good to see you again, Akshay. And what's the point of bishop d6? Knight b3 is nice as well. Exactly. Exactly. So here we have bishop d6, and the whole point is we want to threaten the rook on f8, and also the bishop wants to go to b4, and that is going to trap the queen. It's going to trap the queen. So here c5, just stopping the bishop, and bishop takes f8, and it's all over. The game was 14 moves long, and Botvinnik resigned. For the YouTube. Now Twitch chat is smart. Be nice, screws, be nice. Please be nice. Now we're going to move on to the beautiful tactics of chess. Advanced tactics, and like I said, the theme is double attack and forks. So we're going to be looking at both of those things. Just keep that theme in mind when we're solving these tactics together. I'll tell you who it is to move, and the rest is up to you. So white to move in this position, I'll give you about a minute. We'll spend a minute, maybe a bit more, maybe 2 minutes or something on each position. Let me see how many I have. I have 9. We have enough time. Okay, more than enough time. Where's the Botvinnik fighting spirit? I think he had too much pride in that position. He was like, I have respect for my opponent. I'm not going to go down this easy. I'm seeing a lot of different answers here. Okay, I like it. So, okay. Right. So far, I'm seeing f5, but my problem with f5 is rook takes f5. And I don't know what happens after that, right? I'm also seeing c7. And c7 I like a bit more. But my question then is, what happens after c7 and rook takes f4 check? What do you do then? c7, rook takes f4, and then rook f8 doesn't really work. So king f5 first. Okay. I like all your answers so far. So the first move is, and something we can agree on here, is c7. And c7 is in fact the first move. What happens after rook takes f4 is my question. Because now if we move the king to b3, there's rook f8. If we play knight b4, there's rook c4. If we play king a5, there's rook c4 as well. King a5 would fail to rook c1. In the beginning, yeah, so rook a5 is a little slow. So believe it or not, the move here is knight d4. And the reason for knight d4 is after rook takes d4, we have king b3. And now the difference is there's no rook c4 to protect the square on c8, to stop the pawn from queening. And there's no rook d8 to stop the pawn from queening, because the pawn would just capture it. So that's perfect. That's why in this position, the best move after knight d4 is rook f8. And now the rest is up to you guys. It's beautiful, right? It is very, very nice. So what do you play now? See, the thing is, black is very happy with the draw. So if black can play rook c8 and then capture the pawn on c7, it will be a complete draw. With just a lone knight, there's no way that white will be able to win. Exactly, beautiful, knight c6. So knight c6 works because if rook c8 now, we have knight e7 check, and that's a beautiful fork. So in this position, king f7 must be played. And now knight d8. Beautiful. And even if king e7, we just queen. The whole point of knight d8 is if rook were to take, we can just take with the pawn and queen. If king e7, we promote, we leave the knight. It's fine if we give the knight, we have a queen. And now we can just capture the pawn and we're happy. This should be a win. One step closer. Ah, I see, okay. Right, beautiful stuff, right? Beautiful endgame tactic involving a double attack fork. Okay, moving on, guys. So now we have this position. It's white to move. Let's go. Knight d4 was a nice find, yeah. Then we still don't win if Stockfish defends. The thing is, you have a better chance of winning in that position than without a queen. So it's much better to make sure you have all your chances. Winning material. Queen b3, interesting. Remember, you want to keep things forceful as possible. As forceful as possible. So I'll give you a bit more time to think about it. Candidate moves. So queen b3 we can consider a candidate move, because here we're hitting e6 and bishop b7. Maybe it's not strong enough. We have a lot more to go on. So maybe there's bishop takes e7. There's a bunch more. There's knight takes c5, I like it. Yeah, you probably mean c5, right? Hi, Nicholas. Okay. So far, so good. Bishop takes c5 is interesting. Only with bishop takes c5, we don't want to give up the knight. So believe it or not, the move that we have here is, in fact, knight takes c5. Knight takes c5. And what happens after bishop takes d6? Beautiful, rook e6. Rook e6. Be careful not to just grab the bishop on b7, because it's not the best way forward. We want to take what we can in any given position. My goodness, my English. Okay, any given position. So here we have maybe queen f7, and then we simply capture the bishop on d6. And look at how powerful our rook is right now. And also we're threatening rook d7 at some point. And this is just so overwhelming. We also have knight takes b7. But the knight on c5 is just really, really strong. So you don't want to give up that advantage, at least. Beautiful stuff. Knight b7. So instead of that, of course, we play rook e6 and so on. Very, very nice. Very nice. Okay, hopefully I'm not going too fast. If I am, slow me down. Slow me down. Don't hesitate to be like, yo, you're going fast. Stop. And then I'll stop. Okay, black to move. Black to move. It's close to me. Don't worry about it. If bishop takes e4, what happens after bishop takes e4? Hello, dude. Too many defenders, right? So far, YouTube chat is getting it. YouTube chat is definitely getting it. I like it. Okay, so what we have is queen f4. You guys have queen f4 on the board, and I'm just going to draw an arrow for now. Queen f4. And let's say the queen captures. What happens then? YouTube normies. Hi Vila, how you doing? Rook d2. Beautiful stuff. Okay. So here we have queen f4, queen takes f4, pawn takes f4. And the reason this is so powerful is because after rook g4, going after the f4 pawn, we have rook d2 check. Rook d2 check. And what happens if rook f3? What now? Let's go. Nice, Nicholas. All right, rook d2. Rook f2. Wow, Screws has got it. Oh my goodness. He's on fire. Rook takes, bishop takes, and we have a beautiful fork. Double attack on the king and the rook. Double attack on the king and rook. And we win the bishop, and that's more than enough to win the game. Lovely stuff. You guys are on fire. Okay, this is one of my favorite ones. Not my absolute favorite out of the collection today. That one is still coming. But how about this one? How about this one? Black to move. Let's go. Hi, Charlie. I just want to know how to do the opening. The thing is, Vandana, is that when you improve your tactics, and when you improve maybe, let's say, endgame tactics specifically, we start to better understand pieces. And to be honest with you, openings don't matter all that much, because you could be playing anything in the opening. As long as it's not completely losing, just control the center. Just develop your pieces towards the center and get your king safe. If you know how to castle, then that's the end of that. But if you know openings and you don't know anything about the rest of the game, then it's going to mess you up. So it's better to focus on the more important things, such as endgames and tactics, and maybe some concepts to remember here and there. Love it. Love to see it, guys. But I win 50% of my games in the opening. I guess that's good. You could win 100% of your games if you learn tactics. Okay, so we have queen g4 check. Queen g4 check is met with king d3. Black to move. Bishop b5. Brilliant. Bishop b5. And it's absolutely tickets for white. Tickets for white. Beautiful stuff, guys. Let me show you this one real quick. Let me show you this one. This is my favorite one. I got a little impatient and I wanted to show you because a lot of people fall for this. And even at a really high level, I remember a game from the Ultimate Sensei competition that was happening on Chess Dojo Live. And this some similar idea to this actually was the same idea, just a different position. And what's nice about tactics is that it'll help you identify ideas rather than mimic the position. So it's not like you're going to get this exact position in a game, and if you happen to get it 1 out of a million chances, you'll know what to do. It's identifying the idea behind it. And once you know the idea, you can both set it up, avoid it, and use it in your own games. And that's what I love about chess. It's all about pattern recognition. And this reminded me of a game from the Ultimate Sensei competition. And also it's something I've fallen for myself, I've used as well. And it's just so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Nice. Beautiful stuff. Yeah, and it seems like such a normal opening position. It took me so long. I opened this one up, I saw it, and I was like, but what's the idea? You want a double attack or what? You can play like 95 or knight takes d4, or like what is the point? You play b5? I was like, wait, I've seen this before. And so very, very nice, guys. We have bishop takes b1, rook takes b1, and like you said, queen f5 at the end. And the whole point of this is to give the bishop for the knight, the undeveloped knight on b1. Now, in a normal game of chess, you're not going to do that unless, of course, you have an idea behind it. So if someone gives up their very well-developed piece for a piece you haven't developed, that's when you need to really get scared, or you can even call your opponent's bluff. But the thing is, here you're attacking the bishop and the rook, and there's no way to defend both of those. The queen is just kind of chilling on the side of the board saying, well, you guys are too far away from me, I can't help you out. If the queen was on d1, being able to go to c1, that would be a different story. And I think in some lines of the London system, and maybe some lines of some kind of Collie system as well, this is a perfect trap to just keep in mind. Beautiful, very beautiful. Beautiful. Let's not do that one. Okay, this one is a quick and easy one. White to move. Let's see if you guys can get it real quick. Really, really nice. Chess is becoming streaming games, and that is why you need to follow CoChess on Twitch, so that you can catch more of these lectures. There are a bunch of chess streamers who stream on CoChess. So yeah, it's like an all-in-one platform. And then maybe you'll be able to find them on their personal accounts as well. Beautiful. So you guys got it. Rook takes f7, king takes f7, and... nice. Queen a7. And then we pick up the rook, of course, so king moves somewhere, maybe e8. Queen takes c5, and we have an extra pawn on this side, an extra pawn on this side, and this one should win for us. We're just going to guide him all the way up the board, and even if we exchange the queen and pawn for queen, we'll still have an extra pawn over here, and our king should easily win. Is this tickets? That's tickets. Absolutely tickets. This one is a bit trickier. Let's start with this one, actually. Yeah. White to move. White to move, guys. Front row tickets. What's your personal account, Coach February? I'm new on Twitch. My personal streaming account is #chess. So if you go to Twitch and you type in hashtag HASHTAG and chess, CHESS, you'll find #chess, which is where we stream most of the week. Thanks for asking. Came here for the YouTube chat, right? Yep, that's where you'll find us. So no, my personal account is not Jessie. That's my troll account. Too many pieces? Yep, that's why we start with endgames. We start with the simplest form of tactics, the endgame, and then we move up. Now we have a middle game tactic. YouTube chat is stronger than the Twitch chat. Actually, don't let them hear you say that. Even though I just said it out loud. Nice. Alright, are we analyzing this so hard that we're not even like suggesting anything yet? I like it. I like it. You're taking your time. This is good. The thing is, after queen d8, king g7, you're not going to want to play rook takes b7. Because the knight can take, the rook can take. It's just not great. Not a great outlook. So let's say queen d8, king g7. That's what's going to happen. Because the thing is, if you play knight e8, then there's some other tactic that exists. Play with Seme. Are you going to set it up? That'd be great. Thank you. Too many pieces. I need time to count all of them. Okay. Do you need an abacus with that? Because I can organize. So far, so good. Yeah. We're missing a very important move here, guys. Queen d8 is correct. I'll tell you that much. King will go to g7. What happens next? We're not playing knight f5. Instead, there's something better. That is the idea, but you want to play something first. Queen takes e7, queen takes e7. So close, Screws. So close, Screws. Screws has got the closest pesky net. Yep. So close! Come on, you can do this! Yes, 17 has got it. Yes, both of you have got it. Nice, good job, guys. Good job, good job, good job. Okay. Okay, Queen D8. You got it at the same time, it's fine. I saw the message come through at the same time. Queen D8, King G7. And how beautiful is this? We just sacrificed the queen for the knight. And the reason we sacrifice is because we've identified a really beautiful square for this knight over here. And this was the problem. We take the knight, queen takes, and then we go knight f5. And knight f5 is just... it's over. And white will be a knight up. So king f6, knight takes, and we just win the knight. Da-da. Da-dum. Damn. Hey Judith, how you doing? Okay, ready for the last one. We have time for one more. It is black to move, guys. It's black to move. It's a black to move. And if they play 98 to block the check, we can go some stonk c4. Yes, exactly. Instead of moving the king. Oh, yes. You're right. I must say, the die emote really should be a ga. Maybe we should set that up. We'll set that up for you, 17. And for... Oh, it's I am Rosen's da. Okay. For screws. King c2, king c2, king c2. Yes. Yes, you got it. Nice. King c2, queen. What now? Russian accent. I don't have a Russian accent. Do I actually know something? I know of him. I've never met him before. D1 queen. Good stuff. Easy stuff. King goes over here. King goes over there. That's important. Resign. Nice. Queen d3. Queen d3, king f4. What happens then? Queen d3, king f4. What do we do after that? Not queen e1. Queen e3 is correct. Queen d3 is correct. Queen e3, king f4. King e3, queen d3, king f4, king f4. King f5. Okay, so it's not queen d4 check after that, actually. c4. Yes, beautiful. Beautiful, Ash. Okay, so this is very correct. We have queen d3, king f4, and now the beautiful queen c4. And the reason this is correct, right, is because if queen takes queen, we have pawn takes queen, and the pawn is closest to the queening square than any other. The white pawn will not be able to make it. So let's say this happens here, 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 here. Wait, what did we do wrong? We did something wrong? Here? Aha, that's the move. Okay. Here, 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 here. And check. So the reason king d2 was wrong is because you want a queen with check. And then after the king obviously moves somewhere, we can just play queen h6 and win the pawn. And we're happy. On the other square. Yeah, there was literally any other square I could have put the king on it and it was going to work. Oh, goodness. Yeah, so that was a little bit unfortunate on my part. But that was very nice. And the thing is, if he doesn't take, of course, we're just going to win the queen. I mean, this is what happened in the position that was given. but okay, most logical is probably just to take, but there's no way to stop it. And yeah, that is our position. And I really like that we were able to incorporate some endgame puzzles for those of you who attended my endgame masterclass a couple hours ago. I'll be having those every single Wednesday, so go check it out on cochess.com. There's some masterclasses, and it's half off, so it's only $6. $6 for 60 minutes and some extra work. I will give you access to a Google Drive that has a bunch of information and booklets and stuff like that to check out. But yeah, thank you so much for being here with me today, guys. It was a lot of fun talking about advanced tactics. It's always an area I get really excited about because tactics are something I enjoy, and I really hope you enjoyed it as well. You guys are too smart. I think I need to up the ante because these tactics were anything from 2000 to 2500 level. So I'm very happy to be able to share that with you. And I'll see you very, very soon, guys. Thank you so much. Bye bye.